Alright, good morning, folks. Everything new under the sun. I want to take a look at the Warsaw Summit. What is it? What do you need to know about it? And what are they saying about the peace plan? So, what is the Warsaw Summit, first of all, 2019? This is a piece from AlJazeera.com. U.S.-led Middle East Summit in Warsaw, all you need to know. Widely perceived that the U.S. attempt to isolate Iran, Arab, and European delegates will gather alongside Israel's Netanyahu. So this is kind of their first big gathering to really push the Trump peace deal, to get people on board, to see where people are, to get a feel for how the peace plan is going to be able to roll out when it's revealed after the Israeli elections in April. And so there's some details about this summit, and then we're going to take a look at a bunch of articles about news coming out about it, details about the peace plan, and the situation with Iran, which I think is very interesting. So Warsaw, Poland, that's where it's happening. The United States two-day summit on peace and security. Remember, the Bible speaks about peace and security. When you hear peace and security, sudden destruction comes upon you. It says, two-day summit on peace and security in the Middle East started Wednesday. A gathering denounced by uninvited Iran as dead on arrival. The meeting was first announced last month by U.S. Secretary Mike Pompeo after a strongly worded anti-Iran speech in Cairo, and has been widely perceived as an effort to rally world powers behind Washington's vision against Tehran. But not only that, but really Israel's security and the peace plan. So, who is attending this summit? It says it's still unclear who exactly will attend, but Tehran officials are missing from the guest list. The meeting was planned by Brian Hook, Trump's special envoy on Iran and head of the Iran Action Group. Of course, Israel's there. British Foreign Secretary was there, and other European countries sent lower-level delegates, and some Arab countries as well. It says who won't be there. Chief EU diplomat Federica Mogherini said she would not attend. Russia, Iran's key ally, declined the invitation. So Russia's not interested in going if Russia's ally in Syria, Iran, is not going. Lebanese Foreign Minister Gerald Basil announced Monday that he would not attend the summit, as well as Palestinian officials who have dubbed the conference as a U.S.-Israeli conspiracy aimed at eliminating the Palestinian cause. So the question is, why now? Well, the conference comes as the U.S. starts its policy of disengagement in the region. Trump announced in December last year that the withdrawal of U.S. troops. And of course, the push is also to push this peace deal, which they're going to push in part and parcel with this summit of the allies, the nations, the Arab nations, etc. Basically, all who would be able to come. So let's take a look at some news articles here. At the Warsaw Conference, Pence hails Netanyahu for breaking bread with Arab leaders. Pence on Wednesday hailed a symbol of Netanyahu breaking bread with Arab leaders at a Mideast conference in Warsaw, saying he hoped it heralded future cooperation. So they're trying to make peace. Netanyahu's trying to deal with the other leaders in the Middle East, and prophetically, there will be some Arab leaders that do agree with Israel and want their peace. Those countries, namely, to name a few, prophetically are Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Jordan. These are countries that, though they may not back Israel specifically in wartime, they agree with Israel's stance and viewpoint on Iran, and they support Israel's security. Saudi Arabia is very, very strong for Israel's security, especially against Iran, because Saudi Arabia is against Iran in the region. So you have Arab nations that are on Israel's side. Even though the population of those countries may not like that, the governments are on their side. And the Bible speaks of these nations that are on Israel's side in the last days. This one is from IsraelNationalNews.com. Netanyahu rejected a Saudi peace initiative. So all these countries are coming out with peace plans. Many people have came out with peace plans over the last 70 years. Netanyahu rejected a Saudi peace plan initiative presented to him in a secret meeting after a 2014 Operation Protective Edge. So Saudi Arabia is trying to broker peace. They have an interest in this, obviously. It says, according to Ravid, on the last day of the 2014 operation, Netanyahu held a secret meeting with special envoy from the Saudi king. During the meeting, Saudi Arabia proposed a joint diplomatic initiative on relaunching Israeli-Palestinian Authority peace talks, rebuilding Gaza, and confronting Iran. According to the Saudi proposal, Israel and Saudi Arabia would formulate an updated version of the Arab Peace Initiative. Netanyahu and Saudi foreign minister would present the initiative together at the UN General Assembly a month later, and Israel and Saudi Arabia would declare that Israeli-Palestinian-Arab conflict was entering a process of resolution. This peace initiative, of course, went nowhere, but it was nonetheless on the table. And so the countries of the world are pushing for peace. They're pushing for the dividing of Israel. They're pushing for peace and security in the region. The whole world is after peace and security, and ultimately, in the push for peace and security, at stark contrast to that, the whole world will come against Israel in an attempt to wipe out Israel and drive them into the sea in the name of world peace. They're going to think at one point in time that if we get rid of Israel, then we will have world peace in the Middle East and indeed all over the world. And this is eventually what they come to. This is the conclusion they come to, that if they can only get rid of Israel, then there will be peace in the Middle East. Here's another article. This is from haaretz.com. Pompeo to Netanyahu, confronting Iran key to Mideast stability, peace. In Warsaw, again, talking about the Warsaw Convention that's happening right now, PM is expected to meet Vice President Pence and discuss Trump peace plan with Jared Kushner. So Pompeo is in Warsaw on the conference on the Middle East, co-hosted by Poland and the U.S. State Department. It says, speaking to reporters alongside Netanyahu, Pompeo said, "You can't achieve stability in the Middle East without confronting Iran. It's just not possible." So you have the U.S. and you have Israel basically saying that Iran is effectively the current boogeyman. Iran is the barrier to peace. So the conclusion is that something has to happen to Iran. Biblically, prophetically, nothing actually happens to Iran, at least initially, because Iran is around in strength to march on Israel in the Ezekiel 38 Gog-Magog war of allied nations. So nothing happens to them before that prophecy, and so I think that's interesting that they're talking about attempting to do something with Iran when when Iran isn't mentioned as going down before these prophetic wars. So how close are these prophetic wars when the leaders are already talking about dealing with Iran in some fashion at these, and even presenting it as something that has to happen before actual real peace in the region occurs. And in some ways, that's an accurate representation. All right, here's another article from haaretz.com. It says Kushner, Israel, and Palestinians will have to compromise in upcoming peace plan. So here's more from the peace deal, coming straight out of the mouth of Kushner, who most say is kind of the kingpin. He is the leader putting together this peace plan. Speaking at U.S. orchestrated Mideast convention in Warsaw, the senior Trump aide says plan will be presented after Israeli elections in April. Bahraini FM says diplomatic relations with Israel will happen eventually. So the Bahraini foreign minister thinks relations will happen at some point in time, but at the Warsaw convention, they're announcing the revealing of this after the April elections, which we already knew. But just an update on what they're saying at the Warsaw Convention. Look at the headlines or the logos in the back there. Peace and security in the Middle East. Now that's a very biblical sort of thing to say. Peace and security. I don't know if that's on purpose or not. There are Pence is a Christian, obviously, and apparently Trump is a Christian. Do they know the symbolism of that? Do they know that that's a biblical statement? Peace and security. And interesting that keeps coming out. But when they say peace and security, sudden destruction comes upon them. So interesting that they have that as a headline kind of to the Warsaw summit. Jared Kushner, senior aide to U.S. President Donald Trump, said on Thursday both Israel and the Palestinians will have to compromise in the administration's peace plan, which will be presented after the upcoming Israeli election in April. So April is going to be a big period. It's going to debunk or at least confirm for the time period, for the time being, the Enoch prophecy about the 70 shepherds of Israel. That suggests that Netanyahu will stay in power, and he will be in power until the Lord returns. And that's an interesting one. Not only that, April's going to bring about, apparently, hopefully, the revealing of this big peace plan, which could very well be the peace plan enforced by the Antichrist. It said, let's see, Trump's Mideast peace envoy Jason Greenblatt also tweeted Thursday that Prime Minister Netanyahu described medical care given by Israel to thousands of Syrians who suffered from tragic civil war in Syria, a great example of what Israel does in the region. So it's talking up Israel in the region. So they're touting Israel and presenting Israel to the Arab neighbors as a country that wants to promote democracy and peace in the region, and that would be a good partner for some peace agreements. They're all doing this basically to assuage, to get the Arab leaders, the Arab nations in the region, to come to the table and to make some agreement and to come together and to agree to some peace and security in the region instead of warring against Israel. So this is kind of their game plan. This is what they're trying to do with the Warsaw Summit, get everybody on board prior to the official revealing of whatever this peace plan is. And this is a big, ongoing, drawn-out peace plan. And is this going to work in their favor? Are they building the groundwork? Are they building the foundation for what's going to be the peace plan that the Antichrist enforces in the last days? I don't know. But they're certainly making a massive push, and they're working on many different fronts to make sure that it succeeds, that it is the one, the deal of the century, if you will, or the deal of all time for Trump's legacy. So a bunch of news coming out of Warsaw, and that's kind of an update as to what Warsaw is, what they're talking about at the Warsaw Summit in Poland, and how that relates to Bible prophecy. So again, like I say, April is going to be a very interesting month. Remember that though things may not be happening right now, you should be glad that things aren't happening in huge prophetic volume right now. Because as I've said before, I've likened it to the 7 good years and 7 bad years. And I believe we're at the end of the 7 good years right now, a time where, should the Lord tarry, that you can store up some food, some water, be prepared like Joseph did in Egypt during the times of plenty. And I believe we're in the times of plenty right now, spiritually and otherwise. And times are going to get a lot worse by the time we're able to reflect on that, and in comparison, in relation to the 7 bad years, which is obviously the 7-year tribulation. We're in the 7 good years right now. We're less than 3 years to go from the end of the 7 good years. So don't fret that this peace plan is being pushed off. That means we have more time. We have more time to reach people for Christ. We have more time to get ready to honor God and love the Lord our God. We have more time to reach our family for Christ. And we have more time to make our own decision. If you haven't made that decision for Christ, there's some time left. But time is counting down. And the Lord is patient. He doesn't want anyone to go, to be apart from Him in eternity. And He wishes that all come to a saving knowledge of grace in the Lord Jesus Christ, and salvation in the Lord Jesus Christ. So interesting things happening, and time is running out, I believe. I think the 7-year tribulation starts about the year 2021. So you can do your own math there for how much longer I believe we have in the 7 good years, and then we'll move into the 7 bad years. So I think that's why this keeps pushing off, because the Lord is not, His current plan is not quite ready to be fulfilled. So we see the delay of the peace plan, because I think all these things are going to be compressed. The peace plan, the biblical wars, Isaiah 17, Ezekiel 38. I think all these will be time compressed. And this Bible actually speaks of the time being shortened for the sake of the saints. So there's going to be a time compression. So I think all these are kind of loaded together near the end of the period just before the 7-year tribulation. And when these things start going down, they're going to go down very fast. Not over months and years, but maybe in weeks or even days, where you have the rollout and the deployment and the fulfillment of these big prophetic wars, prophetic peace agreement, world government, etc. You do need some time, but maybe not a lot of time, and maybe the Lord compresses that time. So we're getting to that period. So thanks for watching, guys. I'll leave it there. A bit of detail on the Warsaw Summit and the peace plan situation. Thanks for watching. Please share the video. Please support the channel, and that helps me keep going. As an update, I have ordered a microphone, so that should be louder for everybody and a lot more clear as well. So thanks for all those that supported and donated to help me get that. I will have that shortly. And as always, we'll see you guys in the next video.